And Juan Crudo says that I brought to him $904,000 because of one's private plane. And also the liars that they says that Lord will give them the 7 more and will be humble at the requesting. And what the thief will steal into them. But the thing is that they plans to taking the 1,000,000% and what never were stolen, which they kept. The same Carlos Anacondia said they brought to him $3 million that were for missions with the United Evangelicals and the Unión de las Asambleas de Dios. So this is exactly what I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to be serious. Claudia freaks and makes and made and eats. And any evangelical, one in a proportion, saying, Lord is going to justify, brody. Hermanito, todo está bien, el Señor no va a justificar, total, es para el Señor. Making genocides of my nation, of my people, for taking what they got, saying that it's for the Lord. That we will be nothing of God. Because of the... El pueblo judío tiene un historial de apartarse del Señor y el Señor se cansa y se cansó de todos ellos porque se apartaron, hicieron cualquier cosa y se fueron con los paganos y anduvieron adorando cosas que no tenían que adorar. Like if they would be knowing something of the reality of the history in our people and especially of God, talking like the opportunistic bruja de mierda to take what is not given. And I'm sorry the victims again. And it's exact. So suddenly at the point of this, and referring for the terms of the soul, kept on delivering with forgeries and Policía Federal Argentina making up, saying experts researched and found, and are themselves making up background with them. For them making the shares about what reimbursement by LESE humanity still does to me, this tierra enferma mal nacida con el perdón de víctimas. Saying that I'm robbed to the state because of I will be a liar, and what they says will be truth. That Policía Federal Argentina por los hermanos will be me, and done all I done. And them. So saying that that will be the punishment of the Lord, and I will ever have to recognize the authority and respect it and placing myself, because of they will be the anointed and authority, and the government of the nation, and the authority put it that God will respect. So keeps on delivering between abominations and abominables that they has rights to taking our lives for whatever they want. And are exactly the sickness of the hell themselves. And are exactly conscious about what they are doing. So in the middle of this all is exactly every day presenting about it, making the same and causing disasters all over and making outrages all over for their needs. What they says gotta be like feral sickness, like I was showing to you. So in the middle of this all is exactly the pain of the ones that are confused or used or abducted or inducted or suppressed. But this spell of bruja de guarda, patrimonio, making them thinking there will be the anointment weight of glory. I'm going to tell you one thing. What this degenerados cost me is the destruction and the genocide of the worldly. Especially my people. And that's to keep on making because of they are the hell. And they are all conscious and understanding what they do. Each evangelicals and each degenerados, bodies of them supposed authorities put it by God, are exactly the hell. And are exactly intentional and understanding what they do and how they do for the proceeding about what they are proceeding, saying that they have rights. And this all I will confess about with the understanding that I will do. I will done it. Reason why I will say it. And not by revelation of God because if I will be a homosexual. And I will do, or being about witchcraft, then Moshe have been about profanation and being Moshe. While the world, bearing and tolerating. And I have been suffering destructions that they cause because of wear this glass all the time. And I am a yeah. But nothing on that I have been suffering, it were me, or I will do. But for extortion and to try to destroy and murder the complete state of Israel, it's not a lie. I don't deny her, and I won't. So in the middle of this reality comes the sickness of these abominable ones, and delivering that they has rights and everything will be okay to them. So the point for this, I just come at the side of this same day to try and establish what as orders will ever be put about. So at the will be put about is exactly what happens and what it is around. And what it is still put around is exactly what this is reality. And reality is that this pagan abominables thirst to keep on doing what they need this to be done because of the layers between power, 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 and power, 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 saying that it has kingdom, and saying that it has government, and saying God gave. And the reality is over. Now, point in, point out. Leflekim agarefechua blevesosechla, blefechmin havesochim, blevesose blevesotika manhavesasim. And one step, and thirds to keep on making the same. And once makes more what they says can do, that's really disgusting worse. And we're kidnapping Ravi and we're kidnapping people and are all erected. Them bodies, supposed authorities, put it back out for they to have the business in the 50s. And houses and cars supposed miracles of Lord. That no one will bend down in front of them authorities, so they will ever have rights to take it because of that will be a commandment of the Lord, God Himself. But they says and they proceeds with. And universals were always abominable and brujos degenerados, criminales. And I have been suffering for the reason of this all. What I didn't have to. And that doesn't make me be no other but who I am. And my people doesn't reflect between paganism and destructions, but they causes because of what you see today is exactly what happened and what happens to millions, not only to Jewish, that suffered this war. These are the cost of the abomination that were delimitating the life of the people and proceeding about to saying that had to be obeyed the way of them. Masonry put it in the Christianism, pseudo-Christians, Nazis, and Sodom and Gomorrah. And that's to people making the same. So in the middle of this soul I will confess and I will say on the denial of the cycle, and in the middle of this soul I will rob these videos, and this will be anybody else's lives but mine. But their conscience identifies me by murdering and destroying, saying that they are going to do it to me at last. So at the reality of this day, I'm going to execute much further, and I'm going to do much more. The more destruction Bites have done, the more destruction we're going to keep. And we're exactly making the way I'm going to make to them. I'm going to put orders about my responsibility, but LESE is going to do what he does at the reference, for they are going to die and be dead ever after. And no other is going to be but what I just said. So Guillermo and Supreme were permanently profaning to me, and terror chap like any bruja degenerada, deliring that I will rob them with mind control what they were doing, which the generations, understanding and conscience, to putting in evidence that they will ever have rights to possess, deliring that they will be the guardians of the kingdom of heaven, and what it will be of the God, telling that the glory of the God should not be for the enemy, and they are hell ever after, and no glory has, and profaning me, declaring that they has rights to take him alive. Once dared to say that the first that this were a spirit of the hell that I had, and understanding that I were royal, while making that the generations they done and organizing with Sodom and Gomorrah, they started making worse damages to me and saying that had rights to possessing me like any demon they are. And I'm going to put them dead because of I am not Haven. And neither my people, for no bruja degenerada perras paganas, deliring they will be kingdom of heaven, and this is going to be paid ever after. Shada. And it's going to be paid in a way that they will wish never said a word. Now, at the point for this, keeps the same on, putting in evidence, and that let me have and deliring that in the fact of I will be a witch, a homosexual, a batlik machlim, things I didn't do, and what were with LESE in the gestalt chronicity of the techniques for the same the Spirit shows, in the reality of the sickness of Paperoshe Kabachal Batsemovan with Brujas y Degenerados, in the reality of putting the exercise of the instigational for Diablo Degenerados in the tenement and desperation to cover and catch and arranging like Brujas Degeneradas, profaning and reading at the time for the knowing what happens and what it is, because of they are losing the lyring that they are gonna believe in a state of a witch, but murder and destruction making and genocide that they are gonna win. They thirst to say that they are going to be filled of glory and God is going to be with them, thirst to say, at the point for making the abominations they done to me and to us, saying that they can and could, giving my life profaning power for, like Balaam, and taking which is mine and shares, and taking kingdom, like Balaam, which were not given for, prestige, power, well, okay. Now, Israel's in orders now, in the same Europe, and there's a disaster in the United Nations world. And where more terrorism covered by this and making they themselves the terrorism, coming through Nilo and coming through Mediterranean with a little boat, pretending to reach Israel with 3 heads. And dying away, naturally. Evangelics United of Guillermo Brain and Universal. Brujas de Belek Belu. Jedaya. Jedim. With a pardon of the victims. So, now. The clear of this. Is exactly the reality that this war doing, which today still pretends to destroy the state of Israel, declaring that they will ever end with the whole misery. And they will take positions, and God will recognize them at last, and they will put them God, saying that off of them will be no God. And the only thing with God is abominations, and keeps on making up papers and delivering up the strategy of Lucifer, taking positions, like Sodom and Gomorrah, facade, authority. What says this paper here? That they will be judges, governors, prosecutors. They will be defensors, for the defensor is of minor and incapable. They will be the government itself to putting in orders, and they will call the police for the orders because of everybody shall subject at the authority. And off of that, if there is something of reality, God will show. And our brujas degeneradas willing for anything to disguise, to destroy, and once inside, ay Señor, no pasa nunca nada, nunca se, ¿qué hacemos ahora? Rapes, murders, takes everything and says, I don't know what am I gonna do now. While we're told, don't you goddamn dare. And perras paganas, they learn to be the authority, makes this intentionally in conscience. So suddenly, this is what I'm going to tell you. The picture is clear, and that this abomination are going to be dead sooner. But whoever proceeds about making this thing not going to have no breath. Ever after, sir. And enough of this. HTTPS www.TTE.TTI.TTFIM 9004 PPRCMT middle 18 Tinkal 4342 Tikam Fritikal Kombe Killi Kambe Tikam Brahaba Blevesosim Bleb Barababet Shlemi Grama Blefe Huma Blevesosefla Kimba Blevefogam Slebi Baraba Feholak Tikam Rabefeholevisa Blevesosilibi Plakitaka Roshechale Kolak Chromachal Chromablem Babeso Blevesatim Kimbach Masechal Kim middle Blech of Vohovesasim middle Cis middle Ikram 13 Kabem .90 F7 the whole as tools in the systems recall. Added this in 3 parts in this video, and I'm sorry my violence and that reality, which starts to at this Wednesday, the 18th May 2016, which now, once I begun for about 8:30, this is 10:03 at Buenos Aires.